A young woman named Naomi served pies in her empty roadside cafe until a lone motorcyclist started showing up every day. That's when everything changed. The clock showed 4:30 a.m. Naomi's hands moved through the flour. On the steel counter, her thick, curly hair was tied up in a practical bun, with a few loose strands sticking to her sweaty forehead. The empty cafe smelled like butter and fresh coffee. She checked the temperature of the third oven. The first batch of pies needed exactly 45 minutes. Her grandmother's recipe didn't work with rushed timing. The morning darkness pressed against the windows of Naomi's cafe. The neon sign flickered, casting a red glow on the wet asphalt outside. 6 empty red booths lined the wall. The jukebox in the corner hadn't played a song since yesterday afternoon. Naomi's fingers hurt. She'd been kneading dough since 3 a.m. She rotated her wrists gently, wincing at the sharp sting that had become too familiar. Some days were worse than others. Her doctor called it early-stage carpal tunnel. Naomi called it the price of holding on, holding the cafe, the memories, the past together. The bandage on her index finger was stained with cherry filling. The bills on her desk needed payment by Friday. She pushed the thought away and focused on the pies. The bell above the door rang. Naomi looked up. A man in black leather stood in the doorway. His motorcycle helmet hung from his left hand, white, around 40, with 3 days of beard growth. He scanned the empty cafe, his eyes lingering on the kitchen window. "Take any seat," Naomi said. Her voice echoed in the silence. He chose the booth closest to the kitchen. His boots made heavy sounds on the linoleum floor. "Coffee?" Naomi asked, grabbing the pot. He nodded, didn't look at her, kept staring at the kitchen. Naomi poured the coffee. Her hand was steady, but her heart beat fast. They didn't get many bikers here, not at this hour, not alone. "Menu?" she asked. "Apple pie," he said. His voice was rough, unused. "If you have it." The timer beeped. Naomi walked back to the kitchen. The apple pies had turned golden brown. She cut a slice and added a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Her grandmother always said pie without ice cream was like a hug without a squeeze. The memory hit her hard. She gripped the counter edge, breathed in, breathed out. Not now. She had a customer to serve. The man hadn't moved, still staring at the kitchen. The coffee sat untouched. Naomi set the plate down. "Anything else?" He shook his head, picked up the fork, took a bite. His eyes closed. Something changed in his face. Naomi couldn't name it. The bell rang again. 2 truck drivers walked in, regulars. They saw the biker and stopped. "Morning," Naomi said. "Morning," said Earl, the older one. His eyes never left the stranger. "Your usual booth is free," Naomi said. She grabbed fresh coffee cups. The truckers sat far from the biker. They whispered. Naomi heard snippets. "Never seen him before. Looks like trouble. Should warn her." The biker ate slowly, methodically. Every few bites, his eyes went back to the kitchen window. Naomi served the truckers their usual eggs over easy, hash browns, wheat toast. The sun began to rise, painting the empty highway orange. The biker finished his pie, left cash on the table. "Too much cash." "Keep the change," he said. Stood up, put his helmet on. Naomi watched him walk to a black Harley. The engine roared to life, echoing off the cafe walls. He drove east toward the rising sun. The truckers relaxed. Conversation returned to normal. Weather, road conditions, local gossip. Naomi cleared the booth. The fork had cut the pie into precise, even bites. The coffee was still full, cold. That night, after the last customer left, Naomi counted the register. Tips were down again. The pile of bills seemed higher. She wiped tables, mopped floors, turned off the jukebox that hadn't played all day. The bell rang. Naomi's head snapped up. The biker stood there. Same leather jacket, same heavy boots. "We're closed," she said. "Tomorrow morning," he said. "You'll have apple pie?" Naomi nodded. He turned, left. The bell rang once more. Naomi locked the door. Her hands shook slightly as she turned the key. In the kitchen, she checked the prep list for tomorrow. Added extra apple pies at the bottom. The next morning, he came back. Same time, same booth, same order, and the morning after that, and after that. Each time he stared at the kitchen, each time he left too much money, each time the coffee went cold. The truckers whispered louder. Other regulars noticed. "That biker's always here now. What's he want? Should someone do something?" Naomi kept baking pies, kept serving coffee, kept watching him watch her kitchen. She didn't know his name, he never offered it, she never asked. But every morning, When the bell rang at 4:45 a.m., she knew who it would be. And every morning, she added extra apple pies to the prep list. The routine continued for a week. Then 2 weeks passed. The whispers grew, the stares intensified, but the biker kept coming, and Naomi kept baking. Until the morning, he left something behind. It wasn't much, just a folded piece of paper stuck between the napkin holder and the wall. Naomi found it while cleaning the booth. A map, covered in marks and notes. She should have thrown it away, should have left it for him to find tomorrow. Instead, she took it to the kitchen and unfolded it under the fluorescent lights. The map would change everything. But right then, as the midnight traffic hummed outside and the smell of fresh pies filled the air, Naomi didn't know that. Yet, she just knew that tomorrow morning, at 4:45 a.m., the bell would ring again. The map lay open on Naomi's kitchen counter, next to the unpaid bills. Red circles marked dozens of cafes across the country. Lines connected them in a pattern that made no sense. The bell rang. 4:45 a.m., right on time. The biker walked in, boots heavy on the floor. He looked at his usual booth, stopped. His eyes found the map on the counter. "I found it last night," Naomi said. She held up the coffee pot. "Your booth's free." He sat down, didn't take off his helmet right away. His gloved fingers tapped the table. "Apple pie?" Naomi asked. "Just coffee today." First time he'd said more than 2 words. His voice still sounded rough. Lisa King from the hardware store pushed open the door, saw the biker, turned around, and left. Naomi poured his coffee. "Losing me customers." He took off his helmet, ran a hand through graying hair. "Sorry." "Why are you here?" The question came out harder than she meant. He reached for the coffee, actually drank it this time. "The pies," he said. "Try again." Naomi set the pot down. 2 weeks, same time, same booth, same cold coffee, and you stare at my kitchen like it's got answers. A truck rumbled past outside. The windows rattled. "It's complicated," he said. "Uncomplicate it." Naomi crossed her arms. "People talk. Small town. They're scared of you. People are always scared of what they don't understand. So help me understand." He pulled out his wallet. Old leather, cracked at the edges. Drew out a photograph. A younger man stood in front of a cafe, different place, similar red booths visible through the window. He was smiling, holding up a slice of pie. "My brother," the biker said. "He had a dream. Visit every great cafe in the country. Rate their pies." His finger traced the photo's edge, never finished. "Cancer. Fast kind. 6 months from diagnosis to..." He put the photo away. The map was his. Each circle, a place he wanted to go. Naomi looked at the map, thought of her own bills, the dropping customer numbers. "Why? My cafe?" He stood up, left cash on the table. "Tomorrow." The bell rang as he left. Throughout the day, Naomi watched customers react. They'd enter, see the biker's empty booth, whisper. Earl, the trucker, caught her between coffee refills. "Naomi, honey, we're worried about that biker. Andy at the gas station says he's bad news. Just passing through, he says. Probably casing the place." Naomi wiped the counter. The rag caught on a rough spot. "Andy doesn't know anything. Just be careful." Woman alone, running a place like this? Earl glanced at the empty booth. "Ain't safe." The afternoon dragged. Naomi checked her accounts during the slow hours. The numbers didn't improve. With repeated viewing, bank statements showed more red than black. Supplier costs kept rising. Customer counts kept dropping. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her head. "Pie brings people together, baby, even in hard times." But her grandmother never had to deal with mysterious bikers scaring away half the customers. The dinner rush came. 4 people total. They all asked about the biker. Naomi closed early. The register was light again. She pulled out the map. The nearest marked cafe was 200 miles east. The furthest, 3,000 miles west. Her own cafe wasn't marked. The next morning the bell rang at 4:45. The biker sat down, ordered coffee, apple pie. Naomi brought both, stood at the table. "Show me," he looked up. "The map," she said. "Show me the places he visited, the ones he loved." He hesitated, then nodded at the empty bench across from him. Naomi sat, the vinyl creaked. He unfolded the map. His finger traced a line between red circles. "Started in Maine. Small place called Betty's. Blueberry pie like you wouldn't believe, better than mine. A ghost of a smile. Different. Each place has its own magic." He moved west. Pennsylvania Dutch country, Ohio truck stops, Chicago cafes. Each circle had a note. Each note told a story. The bell rang. Naomi looked up. Lisa King again. This time with Andy from the gas station. They saw Naomi sitting with the biker. Their faces changed. The door slammed as they left. "I should go," the biker said. "No," Naomi's voice was firm. "Tell me more." He did. Stories of cafes across America. His brother's notes about each one, the people, the pies, the dreams. When he finished, the sun was up. Other customers had come and gone, giving them wide berth. "Why isn't my cafe on the map?" Naomi asked. He stood up, left his usual too much cash, because he never made it here. The bell rang. He was gone. That night, Naomi found the graffiti, red spray paint across her front window. Troublemaker. The paint was still wet. She got a bucket, started scrubbing. Her hands shook. Inside, the map waited on the counter, full of places she'd never see, dreams she couldn't afford to chase. But tomorrow morning at 4:45, she'd have fresh apple pie ready, and maybe this time she'd learn his name. 3 a.m. Naomi held the map under her desk lamp. Her finger traced past truck stops, roadside cafes, and chrome-plated diners. Each red circle told a story. A note caught her eye, messy handwriting in the margin. "Mom and Pop's, Route 16, best apple pie this side of heaven." Her hands went cold. She knew that place, her mother's cafe. The timer buzzed. Today's pies needed attention. Naomi moved through her kitchen. Muscle memory. Check temperatures. Rotate pans. Her mind stayed on that note. Mom and Pop's closed 12 years ago, after her mother got sick. After the medical bills piled up, after everything fell apart. The bell rang early, 4:30, not quite 4:45. The biker stood in the doorway. Water dripped from his leather jacket. Outside, rain pounded the asphalt. "You're early," Naomi said. "Couldn't sleep." He shook water from his helmet, looked at the map on her counter. "You found it, Mom and Pop's," Naomi pointed to the note. "How did your brother know that place?" He sat at the counter this time. Not his usual booth. Summer of '99, middle of nowhere, storm like this one. Naomi poured coffee without asking. "Tell me." He was 19, doing a cross-country trip on an old Honda. He wrapped his hands around the cup. First time he touched the coffee before it went cold. Said he was lost, hungry, saw the lights. "Tuesday," Naomi said. The memory surfaced sharp and clear. Stormy Tuesday. Mom made extra pies because the weather kept truckers stuck in town. The biker nodded. Lady in the kitchen gave him pie, wouldn't take his money. That was her way. Naomi's throat tightened, said nobody should go hungry in a storm. "You're her daughter, Naomi Walters." She held out her hand. "About time we did proper introductions." He took it. His hand was rough, warm. "Jack Morrison." The bell rang again. Earl and his trucker friends. They saw Naomi and Jack at the counter. Earl's face darkened. "Naomi, step away from him." "It's fine, Earl." "Like hell it is." Earl moved forward. Two others flanked him. "Andy told us about yesterday. You, sitting with him. Now. This Andy needs to mind his business." Naomi didn't move. "Town's talking, Naomi. About you, about him." Earl jerked his thumb at Jack. "Ooh, this ain't right." Jack stood slowly. "I should go." "No." Naomi's voice cut through the rain noise. "Earl, you want to eat, sit down. You want to cause trouble, get out. You're making a mistake." Earl's hands clenched. "Your mama wouldn't want—" "Don't." Naomi stepped forward. "Don't you dare talk about my mother." Silence filled the cafe. Even the rain seemed quieter. "She taught me to judge people by their actions," Naomi continued. "Not rumors, not fear. Actions." "He's trouble," Earl insisted. "He's a customer, like you. Now choose breakfast or the door." Earl looked at his friends, at Jack, at Naomi. They left. The bell's ring echoed in the empty cafe. Naomi's hands shook as she grabbed the coffee pot. Refilled Jack's cup, spilled some. Damn it. She grabbed a rag, wiped the counter, kept wiping, long after the coffee was gone. "Naomi?" Jack's voice was soft. She stopped, looked at him. "Thank you." "For what?" "Standing up for a stranger." "You're not a stranger anymore." She tossed the rag in the sink. "You're the guy who drinks cold coffee and tells stories about my mother's cafe." A small smile crossed his face. "Real." "Wham." Then the front window shattered. Glass sprayed across the floor. A brick lay among the shards. Naomi acted without thinking. Grabbed Jack's arm, pulled him into the kitchen as more rocks hit the cafe. They crouched behind the counter, heard engines rev, tires squeal. When silence returned, Naomi stood, surveyed the damage. 3 windows broken, glass everywhere. The brick had a note tied to it. "Get out." "I'm calling the police," Naomi said. "They won't do anything." Jack picked up the brick. "No proof who did it?" "Then what? I leave? End the problem?" "No." Naomi grabbed her broom, started sweeping glass. That's what they want. More will come. Let them. Each sweep of the broom was angry, determined. This is my place, my life. They don't get to decide who stays or goes. Jack watched her work, finally picked up a dustpan, started helping. They cleaned in silence. The sun rose. Regular customers drove past the broken windows, didn't stop. Naomi taped cardboard over the gaps, made more coffee, baked more pies. The cafe stayed empty all morning. Just Naomi and Jack. He told her more stories about his brother, the map, the cafes they'd visited together before the cancer. Naomi told him about her mother, teaching her to bake, fighting the illness, making pies until her hands shook too much to hold the rolling pin. When lunchtime came, Jack stood to leave. Tomorrow? Naomi asked. He looked at the cardboard-covered windows, the empty booths, the fresh pie cooling on the counter. Tomorrow, he said. The bell rang as he left. The sound was different now. Fuller. Like a promise. Naomi unfolded the map again, found Mom and Pop's, read the note one more time. Then she got out a pen, drew a new circle, wrote, Naomi's Cafe. Wrote 39. Where stories and pies find their way home. The next morning, Jack didn't come alone. 4:45 a.m., 2 motorcycles pulled into the parking lot. Naomi watched through the cardboard-covered windows. The second rider was a smaller woman. Maybe. The bell rang. Jack entered first. The woman behind him wore a red leather jacket, gray hair, and a tight braid. Morning, Naomi, Jack nodded at his companion. This is Sarah, my brother's wife. Naomi's hand tightened on the coffee pot. Would you like some coffee? Please, Sarah said. Sarah sat at the counter, studied Naomi's face. Jack told me about yesterday. The windows. Naomi poured coffee. Or the part where your brother-in-law finally told me his name? Both. Sarah pulled out a worn leather notebook, set it on the counter. Thought you should have this. Naomi stared at the notebook. What is it? Tommy's diary, Sarah said. Her fingers lingered on the cover. His cafe reviews, stories, everything he loved about places like this. Jack sat next to Sarah. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Sarah pushed the notebook toward Naomi. He'd want her to have it. Naomi picked up the notebook. The leather was soft, cracked. Pages stuck out at odd angles. Read it, Sarah said. Maybe then you'll understand why Jack keeps coming back. The bell rang. A single customer walked in, stopped, stared at the bikers. Naomi recognized him. Regular customer. Always ordered chicken fried steak. He turned around. Left. That's been happening a lot? Sarah asked. Since Jack started coming. Naomi set the notebook down. Started prepping the grill. No orders to cook, but she needed to move. Do something. Town's not big on change or black business owners. Sarah's voice was gentle. Naomi's hands stilled on the grill. That too, she said. Tommy wrote about it. Sarah said how cafes like yours were different, special, how the food meant more than just eating. My mother used to say that. Naomi turned back to them. Said every pie had a story. Tell me one, Sarah said. So Naomi did. Told them about her first solo pie, age 8. Dropped the filling all over the floor. Her mother just laughed, helped her clean up, start over. Jack listened, actually drank his coffee. While it was hot, Sarah shared too. How she met Tommy at a cafe in Kansas, how he proposed over a slice of cherry pie, how they planned to visit every cafe in his notebook once he retired. Cancer changed that plan, Sarah said. Her coffee had gone cold. But not the dream. That's why Jack's here. Naomi looked at him. Finishing Tommy's dream? Jack nodded. Last thing he asked me, see them all. Jack, tell me about the pies. The morning light grew stronger. No other customers came. Your regulars, Sarah observed. They're scared of losing this place. What do you mean? Small towns. They see a biker hanging around. Black owner, broken windows. Sarah shrugged. They make assumptions. Let them, Naomi said. It'll get worse. Jack warned. Already is. Naomi showed them the day's receipts. Numbers in red. Can't pay bills with empty booths. Sarah opened Tommy's notebook, flipped pages until she found what she wanted. Read this, she said. Naomi looked down at the messy handwriting. Mom and Pop's, middle of nowhere, storm raging. Lady in the kitchen saw I was broke, fed me anyway. Said food was love made visible. Said her daughter was learning to bake. Said someday she'd own her own place. Feed other lost souls. That pie saved more than my empty stomach. That night saved my faith in people. Naomi's vision blurred. She remembered that night. Her mother's voice. That boy needs pie more than we need money today. Tommy never forgot that kindness, Sarah said. talked about it for years. So when I saw this place, Jack added, had to stop, had to know if you were her daughter. And now? Naomi asked. Now we help, Sarah said firmly. Tommy would want that. How? Sarah smiled. Ever heard of the Diner Rider blog? Naomi shook her head. Motorcycle groups looking for authentic places, real food, real stories. Sarah pulled out her phone. I write about them. People come. Bikers. Naomi thought of the town's reaction. That might make things worse. Or better, Jack said. Depends on the story we tell. The bell rang. Naomi tensed. But it was just the mail carrier. He dropped letters on the counter. Hurried out. Naomi opened the first envelope. Another bill. I can't pay for publicity, she said. No charge. Sarah stood up. Just keep making pies. Keep telling stories. The rest will follow. Why would you help me? Because Tommy was right. Sarah touched the notebook. Food is love made visible. And this place, it's full of love. Jack left his usual, too much money. Sarah hugged Naomi goodbye. Through the broken windows, Naomi watched them ride away. The notebook sat on her counter. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. Every pie has a story. Naomi opened Tommy's diary. Started reading. By nightfall, she'd read it twice. Made her decision. Tomorrow, she'd start telling her own story. Naomi opened early the next morning. 3 a.m. She needed time before Jack arrived. The diary sat open on the counter. A letter had fallen from its pages last night. Still sealed. Tommy's handwriting on the envelope. For the pie lady's daughter, if you find her. Her hands shook as she opened it. Dear Naomi, if I got your name wrong, I apologize. I don't know if you'll remember me. Skinny kid on a motorcycle. Caught in a storm. Summer of '99. Your mom fed me apple pie when I couldn't pay. You were there, watching from the kitchen. Learning to bake. Your mom said that pie changed my life. Sounds dramatic, but it's true. Your mom talked to me that night about dreams, about finding your path, about how food brings people together. I started this journey because of that night. Because of her pie. Because sometimes a stranger's kindness is all you need to keep going. If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it back to thank her, to thank you, but maybe my brother did. Keep baking, keep sharing, keep the light on for lost travelers, Tommy Morrison. The bell rang, 4:45 a.m. Jack stood in the doorway, saw the letter in her hands. Found it? He asked. Naomi nodded, couldn't speak. He sat at the counter, waited. Outside a truck pulled up, engine idling. Naomi recognized Andy's pickup. They're watching, she said. Let them. Naomi poured his coffee. Your brother? He remembered everything. Tommy remembered kindness, Jack said, took the cup, said it was rare enough to be worth noting. A rock hit the cardboard covering the windows. The truck engine revved. Naomi didn't flinch. They'll do more than throw rocks soon. I know, Jack stood up, which is why I'm leaving. No. Naomi. I read his diary, all of it. She pulled out the notebook. Every cafe, every story, every person who showed him kindness or turned him away. Another rock. The cardboard sagged. He believed in places like this, Naomi continued. Places where anyone could walk in, get warm, find comfort in a slice of pie. That belief got these windows. Broken windows can be fixed, Naomi said. She grabbed her keys. Come with me. She led him to the kitchen, opened the bottom drawer of her filing cabinet. Inside lay a stack of papers, newspaper clippings, old photos. Mom and Pops, she said, before it closed. The photos showed a cafe much like hers, red booths, chrome fixtures. Her mother behind the counter, younger, smiling. The night Tommy came through, Naomi pulled out a specific photo. Mom took this. The photo showed a skinny kid on a motorcycle, soaking wet, grinning, holding up a slice of pie. Jack's breath caught. I never saw this. Mom said he looked lost, not just because of the storm. Naomi put the photo down. Sometimes people need more than food. Another rock hit. Glass cracked somewhere. They'll destroy this place, Jack said. Maybe. Naomi straightened her apron. But first, we're making pies. What? Your brother traveled the country, looking for real cafes, real food, real stories. She pulled out mixing bowls, so let's give him one. Flowers in the bottom cabinet. Apples need peeling. She handed him an apron. Think you can handle it? For a moment, he just stared at the apron. Then he put it on. Naomi taught him her mother's recipe, the exact amount of cinnamon, how to cut the butter into the flour, the secret to flaky crust. Outside, the truck kept circling. More rocks fell. They kept baking. Jack was clumsy with the rolling pin. Got flour everywhere, but he listened, learned. Tommy would have loved this, he said, crimping a crust edge. He did love it, Naomi said. She showed him the diary entry. See? He wrote about learning to bake at Mom and Pop's. The bell rang. Sarah walked in, saw them both, covered in flour. They called me, she said. The locals said there was trouble. There is, Naomi replied. We need help with these pies. Sarah looked at the kitchen. The mixing bowls, the flour-covered counter. She grabbed an apron. By sunrise, they had a dozen pies cooling, apple, cherry, peach. The truck was gone, but the damage remained. Broken windows, dented walls. Now what? Jack asked. Naomi opened Tommy's diary, found a blank page. She began to write. Today in a small cafe on Route 39, a brother finished what his brother started. He learned to make pie. Real pie, the kind that tells a story. The windows are broken, the customers are gone, but the ovens are warm. And the coffee is always fresh. Maybe someday, some lost soul will find their way here. Like Tommy found Mom and Pop's. Until then, we keep baking, keep hoping, keep the light on. She showed it to Sarah. Perfect, Sarah said. I'll post it tonight. The bell rang again. Earl stood there, saw the pies, the flour, the three of them in aprons. He said, we need to talk. Nothing to talk about. Naomi wiped flour from her hands. Unless you're here for pie. Earl stepped inside, looked at Jack and Sarah. Alone, no backup. Naomi moved behind the counter. Whatever you've got to say it. Andy and the others. Earl's voice dropped. They're planning something, tonight. Planning what? Don't know details, but it's bad. He glanced at the broken windows. Worse than this. Jack stepped forward. Earl flinched. Why tell us? Jack asked. Because this ain't right. Earl looked at Naomi. Your mama helped my wife when she was sick, brought pies to the hospital, never asked for nothing. Naomi remembered. Her mother baking late at night, delivering pies to the hospital. They're coming at midnight, Earl said. That's all I know. He left before Naomi could respond. Sarah pulled out her phone. I'm calling some friends. More bikers? Naomi asked. Protection. Sarah dialed. Just in case. Jack started cleaning the kitchen. We should close, get you somewhere safe. No. Naomi grabbed more mixing bowls. We bake. Naomi? Mom never closed. Not during storms. Not during riots. Not even when she was sick. She measured flour with sharp movements. I won't close now. They baked all morning. No customers came in. Sarah's phone buzzed constantly. Messages from her blog readers. Bikers asking about Naomi's story. By noon, the first motorcycles arrived. 3 bikes, then 5, then 10. Men and women in leather jackets filled the booths. Ordered pie, coffee. Best apple pie since Tommy's stories, one said. Place has soul, said another. They left large tips, promised to spread the word. Naomi kept baking. Jack stayed in the kitchen, learning each recipe. Sarah took pictures, posted updates. More bikes arrived. At sunset, the parking lot was full. Chrome glinted in the fading light. Inside, every booth was taken. The jukebox played for the first time in weeks. Naomi saw Andy's truck drive past, saw his face as he counted the motorcycles. They'll still come, Jack said quietly. Let them. Naomi served another slice of pie. We've got friends now. Night fell. The bikers stayed. They shared stories about Tommy, about cafes they'd visited, roads they'd traveled. This is what he wanted, Sarah said, showing Naomi her phone. Look, the blog post had thousands of views. Comments poured in. On our way. Save us some pie. Real cafes need protection. At 11:30, engines rumbled outside. Not motorcycles, trucks. Naomi counted headlights, 5 vehicles. The bikers noticed too, stood up, moved to the windows. Stay inside, Sarah told them. No violence. Then what? Someone asked. Naomi grabbed Tommy's diary, opened to a specific page. Listen, Naomi said and read, cafes are more than food. They're neutral ground, where truckers and bikers, locals and strangers all sit at the same counter. Share the same coffee, find common ground in a slice of pie. The trucks parked, doors opened. Andy stepped out first, held a baseball bat. Others followed, carried chains, pipes. They saw the bikes, hesitated. The cafe door opened. Jack walked out alone. Naomi watched through the window as he approached Andy. Words were exchanged. She couldn't hear them. Andy raised the bat. Jack didn't move. Then Earl's truck pulled in. He got out, stood between them. More trucks arrived, more locals. Naomi recognized faces, people who'd stopped coming weeks ago. They formed a line between Andy's group and the cafe. The bat lowered. Inside, Naomi kept reading from Tommy's diary. Sometimes courage is quiet. Sometimes it's just standing your ground. Serving pie. Keeping the lights on. Believing in people. Andy's group left first, then the locals who'd protected them. Earl came inside, ordered coffee. The bikers stayed until dawn. When the sun rose, Naomi looked at her cafe, windows still broken, walls still dented, but every table was full, every coffee cup steaming. Jack stood in the kitchen, covered in flour, starting the morning pies. Sarah showed Naomi her phone. More comments, more bikers coming. Tommy would love this, Sarah said. Naomi opened the diary, added her own entry. Today, a cafe remembered its purpose, to feed, to shelter, to bring people together. The windows are still broken, but the light gets in anyway. Naomi woke at 2 a.m. earlier than usual. Today was different. Sarah's blog post had gone viral. 300 bikers confirmed coming. She found Jack already in the kitchen. Dough rolled out, pies in ovens. Couldn't sleep, he said. Me neither. Naomi checked the preparations. How many? 20 pies done, 30 more to go. Her phone buzzed, text from Earl. Police are ready, no trouble expected. The town had changed since that night. Earl made sure of it. Andy left 2 days ago, sold his gas station. Good riddance. The bell rang, 3 a.m. Sarah walked in with 4 other bikers, all carrying supplies. Kitchen help, she announced. Tommy's old crew. They worked in silence, rolling dough, peeling apples, loading ovens. By sunrise, the parking lot filled with motorcycles. Chrome sparkled in the morning light. Local cars parked across the street. People waited, watching. At 7 a.m., Naomi unlocked the door. Jack stood beside her. The crowd entered slowly. Bikers, locals, everyone. Earl took his usual booth. Next to him, a man in leather with full arm tattoos passed. Welcome to Naomi's, she said into the microphone Sarah had set up. Today, we're sharing stories. Jack stepped forward, held up Tommy's diary. My brother dreamed of finding real cafes. He said he played places that served more than food. He found one years ago, mom and pops. Naomi watched faces in the crowd, recognition from older locals. That place closed, Jack continued, but its spirit lived on, through Naomi, through her pies. He told Tommy's story, the storm, the kindness, the pie that changed everything. People listened, ate pie, shared their own stories. A biker spoke about Tommy helping him when his bike broke down. A local remembered Naomi's mother delivering pies during hard times. The jukebox played all morning. Coffee flowed endlessly. At noon, Sarah stood up. Time for the surprise. She nodded to 4 bikers. They left, returned carrying something large, covered in cloth. For your wall, Sarah said to Naomi. They unveiled it. A painting. 2 cafes, Mom and Pop's and Naomi's, connected by a winding road. In one corner, a skinny kid on a motorcycle. In the other, Jack teaching Naomi to bake. Tommy would want you to have this, Sarah said. Naomi touched the canvas, thought of her mother, of Tommy, of all the stories that led here. The crowd stayed all day, ate every pie, told more stories. Local kids asked bikers about their motorcycles, got rides around the parking lot. Earl shared his booth with different bikers each hour, swapped trucking tales. As sunset approached, Sarah showed Naomi her phone. Comments flooded in. Best pie in 3 states. Real cafe, real people. Adding to my route. Naomi wrote in Tommy's diary, today, strangers became family, over pie, over coffee, over stories. The windows are fixed now, but something else got fixed too. Hope tastes like apple pie, smells like coffee, sounds like 100 voices sharing stories in a small cafe on Route 39. The bikers left gradually, each promising to return. Locals stayed to help clean up. By midnight, only Jack, Sarah, and Naomi remained. Tommy would be proud, Sarah said. Hugged them both goodbye. Naomi locked up, looked at her cafe. New windows gleamed. The painting hung proud. Jack stayed to help prep for tomorrow. Regular time, she asked. 4:45, he confirmed. Always. The mixer whirred. Flour-dusted counters. Outside, a single motorcycle passed, then a truck. Just travelers on the highway, looking for their way home. A week after the event, 4:45 a.m., the bell rang. Jack walked in, not alone. 2 truckers followed. New faces, young guys. Heard about this place in Tennessee, one said. They said to try the apple pie. Naomi poured coffee. Word travels fast, the other trucker said. Whole circuits talking about it. The cafe where bikers and truckers get along. News spread on the highways, through truck stops, biker bars, roadside cafes. Sarah's blog brought more visitors each day. Different faces, same stories. Looking for real food, real people, real place to rest. Jack worked the kitchen now, 3 days a week, learning each recipe. Tommy would have loved this, he said, crimping a pie crust. Naomi watched him work, his hands steadier now, more confident. The bell rang again. Earl and his wife brought someone. "This is Aaron," Earl said. A man in a suit followed them, carried a briefcase. "I'm from the Historical Society," he said. "We'd like to register your cafe." Naomi wiped her hands on her apron. "Register as what?" "A historical landmark. Been here since 1952, correct?" She nodded. "Original fixtures, classic design." He looked around. "Plus the cultural significance." "Cultural?" "Cafes like this. Black-owned, women-run. They're part of highway history." He opened his briefcase, showed her papers. "Registration means protection, tax benefits, grant opportunities." Naomi read the documents, thought of her mother, of Tommy. "Sign it," Jack said quietly. She did. The morning rush came. Truckers, locals, travelers, every booth full, coffee flowing, jukebox playing. Sarah called at noon. "Check your email," she said. "Got a surprise." Naomi opened her laptop, found the message. Food Network wanted to feature her cafe, part of a series on historic highway restaurants. "They found your story," Sarah said. Tommy's diary entries, the community support. Naomi looked around her cafe, at Jack teaching a young trucker to crimp pie crust, at Earl sharing stories with out-of-town bikers. "What do you think?" Sarah asked. "I think Mom would say yes." The afternoon brought more changes. Local paper ran a story. Highway Haven, how one cafe united a town. Chamber of Commerce called, wanted Naomi on their board. Even the bank noticed, offered better terms on her loans. But Naomi cared more about smaller changes. The way locals and travelers shared booths now, swapped stories, how Jack smiled more, stayed later, belonged. The way her mother's recipes fed new dreams, new friendships. At closing time, Jack helped count receipts. "Numbers good?" he asked. "Better than good." Naomi showed him the books, all black ink now. They cleaned in comfortable silence, wiped counters, mopped floors. Naomi added to Tommy's diary. "Your brother's teaching truckers to bake. Earl's telling biker stories. Your dream of connecting people through food lives on. Some call it a landmark now, but it's still just a cafe, still just pie and coffee and open doors, still keeping the light on for lost travelers." Jack read over her shoulder. "He'd love that." "Think he knew?" Naomi asked. "What would happen when you found this place?" Tommy knew people needed somewhere to belong. Jack hung up his apron. Somewhere real. Through the new windows, headlights passed on the highway. Some stopped, some kept going, but the light stayed on. The coffee stayed hot. And tomorrow, at 4:45, the bell would ring again. 1 month later, the morning started like any other. 4:45. 1 month later, the morning started like any other. 4:45. Naomi tied her apron, rolled out the first crust. The jukebox was still silent, but now it didn't feel so empty. Jack sat by the window, scribbling notes beside a half-drunk cup of coffee. Sarah had started helping on weekends, just a few hours, just enough to feel connected again. The bell above the door rang, and Earl walked in with a nod. Routine, familiar, steady. She placed a fresh pie in the window, just like she had 100 mornings before. But this time there was a photo next to it. Tommy, grinning, holding a pie in one hand and a guitar in the other, his handwriting below. Still just a cafe, still just pie and coffee and open doors. A couple pulled in off the highway, strangers, tired eyes, road dust on their boots. Naomi smiled, reached for a clean mug. "Coffee?" she asked. They nodded. Sat at the booth closest to the kitchen. As she poured, Naomi glanced at the clock. 4:47. A minute late today, but somehow right on time. The cafe wasn't quieter anymore, it was just softer. And that softness held people. Not everyone came to stay. Some passed through, some never said a word. But those who did left a little lighter. And for Naomi, that was enough. She looked out the window into the morning light and whispered like a prayer. Still just a cafe, but now it knows how to heal.